Hey, it's Soleil, and this is episode 60 of the Red Pilled Orange Pill Investor. And I had some minor Twitter beefs, I guess. And man, I think finance bros versus Bitcoin bros is like the East Coast, West Coast hip hop beef from the 90s. This shit is kind of ridiculous. And I think what it boils down to is Bitcoiners have conviction. Every time you see one of these finance bros post their their portfolio, it's a laundry list of your grandpa's stock tickers. I mean, or they'll just straight up say, put everything in the SPY or the VOO and then work your 9 to 5 until you die, and then you'll be rich at some point. And even this guy here, Investment Kagi, he had like 0.44% invested in Bitcoin. And I asked him, I'm like, well, how much have you studied Bitcoin? Because that seemed kind of like a lottery ticket play, And I specified, not an insult, because I really didn't mean it that way, and I could kind of tell that it could be taken as insulting. But what I mean by that is anything that you're investing less than 1% or less of your buying power, you don't have a lot of conviction in that pick. You are, it's something that's, that you are, whether it is a high risk to reward or not, is beside the point. You believe that it is. So most of us Bitcoiners would probably, at this point, not even consider Bitcoin as high risk. We would probably consider it low risk, high reward. And, like a conservative Bitcoiner's portfolio would just be 100% Bitcoin, but not margin, not leveraged, not not anything risky. But a risky Bitcoiner's portfolio would be borrowing money to buy Bitcoin, getting a second mortgage on your house to buy Bitcoin, taking a loan on your Bitcoin to buy Bitcoin, trading MicroStrategy because that's a leveraged Bitcoin play. I mean, technically that's like over 100% Bitcoin. Or in my case, using margin to buy MicroStrategy and be, nothing like having leverage on your leverage. And so this guy, he took a little bit of offense to it. By me saying it's not an insult, he probably took it as more of an insult than maybe it even would have been taken if I hadn't said anything. But I said, that just seems like, a lottery ticket, because if you just put 0.5% into something, you're hoping that thing 10x's or 50x's or 100x's. But even if it 100x's, I mean, still you doubled your account. But and he kind of put me in my place a little bit. He started quoting the white paper and asking me if I can explain the code for the double spend risk at the end. And I haven't taken statistics for frickin' 30 years, so I don't remember half of that shit. So he got me there, and that was fine. But what I really meant, and I know I've since I started following and interacting with other Bitcoiners, my feed is just littered with them now. And some of the comments can be a little aggressive, but I think it comes down to conviction. And what I meant when I said how much have you studied, and a lot of people will just be like kind of a dick about it and be like, study more or whatever. But what I meant by that is, what I've noticed is that the amount of your Bitcoin allocation seems to be directly proportional to the number of hours that you've put into studying Bitcoin. So reading about Bitcoin, watching podcasts endlessly with Saifedean and Sailor and Breedlove and Balaji, and just all of these extremely intelligent people that, even though I don't remember much about my statistics class, they damn sure can run circles around any of these people criticizing anything in the white paper. And so, to a certain extent, am I exposing myself to some third-party risk because I've outsourced my not decision making, but some of my belief in Bitcoin to some of these extremely intelligent people? Yeah, I have. I do a bunch of research for my medical health, but when I go to the physical therapist, I outsource, some of that decision making to them as well. And but at the end of the day, if I don't agree with what my doctor tells me, yeah, I make the decision on my own. And the same with Bitcoin. I listen to all these smart people, and then I give it the sniff test, and whatever makes the most sense to me, that's what I go with. But so I was legitimately interested in how much this guy had spent studying Bitcoin, because if he's an intelligent person and he's put in as many hours in Bitcoin as I have, and he's come to the opposite conclusion that it's, there's a great enough risk of a double spend attack being successful, or, I don't know, the resurrection of Satoshi, or, the United States bans Bitcoin mining or something like that. Maybe there's some kind of black swan event that this guy believes Bitcoin is too risky. I think most Bitcoiners are like, most of Bitcoin's existential threats are pretty much in the past. I think there was a point at which maybe the state could have strangled Bitcoin. But at this point, it doesn't seem like there's any stopping it. And in a scenario, what did somebody say the other day? What's your percentage of allocation in Bitcoin and gold if you hold both? And I think I said something along the lines of, if there ever comes a point where gold is more valuable than Bitcoin, you'd probably rather have ammo than gold. So I think that's the level of like extinction level event that would need to take place in order to ruin Bitcoin at this point. So as long as that doesn't happen, I think Bitcoin is relatively safe. And that doesn't. I'm not necessarily one of the never sell your Bitcoin maxis either, though. I know they say just take a loan against your Bitcoin. That doesn't, and then you don't get capital gains taxes or whatever. But I'm not familiar, and I don't know if the Bitcoin loan market is convenient enough to do that now or during this next bull cycle. So what kind of makes sense to me at this point, taking the loan does make the most sense if it's viable. But if not, I mean, during the next bull market, if you've racked up some debt and you want to sell some Bitcoin to pay off the debt, and then in the next bear market, maybe you could incur that debt back again and then buy the dip. That seems reasonable to me. Or just for anything you need. I mean, if you need to put a down payment on a house, and you know you're not going to be able to time the top perfectly, but you know, if you sell some and you improve your life, then of course, you know, that's I think most people are reasonable enough to not fault you for that. But yeah, I think the difference is conviction. And finance bros don't understand because and they're going with a mathematical truth. I can't remember the study or whatever, but there's a certain amount of risk that's lowered every time you diversify. So every time you purchase an asset that's completely unrelated to a different asset, you lower your risk. Because if you're only invested in one stock and that stock goes to zero, then you've blown up your whole account. And so if you are invested in oil and then you're invested in tech, I guess those would be unrelated mostly. And then I don't even know what else, gold or just, you know, the SPY and just, I mean, the SPY is everything, so I don't know how that would be. I guess technically that's automatically diversified because it's the top 500 stocks or whatever, but I don't think they can grok what real conviction is, because a Bitcoiner unapologetically and with no shame or guilt or remorse or trepidation will have 100% or even leveraged over 100% Bitcoin allocation and sleep okay at night. And I don't think most of these finance bros can figure it out, and I think it really pisses them off. And the Bitcoiners are probably a little jaded because Bitcoin goes in these cycles, and every time there's a bear market and Bitcoin starts to lose its ass, they have to sit there and you just hide in the shadows and listen to people FUD and just talk shit and doom and gloom about Bitcoin's going to zero, and just sit there and bide their time and wait for the bull market again so that they could step out into the sunshine. So I think Bitcoiners maybe suffer from that, maybe are a little scarred from the lumps that they have to take during those bear markets, and because their conviction is so high, and really, I think once you start seeing things with laser eyes, you just start to see other things. I think it was Atomic Habits, the book. He talks about cornerstone habits. So like if you get a good night's sleep, then you're more likely to have motivation to go work out. And then if you work out, you're more likely to eat better because you don't want to ruin the workout. And if you eat better, you're probably going to have more energy, and then you're going to get more done, and then you're going to sleep better at night because you got shit accomplished. And then, you know, any of those things could be a cornerstone habit to lead to the other one. So the sleep could lead to the energy and the working out and the better nutrition, but the nutrition could lead to better sleep and better workouts. So those things are all cornerstone habits. And I think Bitcoiners, when you start to see, I think some of the smoke and mirrors starts to evaporate, and you just start to see the all the fiat scams. So you start to see the kind of the political scam that the government puts out. You see the news media scam, fiat journalism, fiat military industrial complex, fiat medical industrial complex, the fiat pharmaceutical, fiat science, everything is basically corrupted. And we're a little jaded too, because once we see it so clearly, it's like, holy shit, I can't believe that, like, this is amazing. And then you go to share it with people, and everyone just looks at you like you're a leper, and nobody wants to touch you with a 10-foot pole, and that's a little bit of a covert contract, because you're basically thinking you're helping people, and they don't want to be helped, and so you're a little disappointed because they didn't reciprocate their end of the deal, but they didn't know they were in this contract that you had set up in your mind. So there's a little bit of disappointment, I think, that Bitcoiners feel from that. And it's funny. I must be interacting with some of these accounts, and the algorithm just keeps feeding me more and more. And I'm seeing these finance versus Bitcoiner scraps in my Twitter feed, and it's kind of funny. And I don't necessarily think that I'm in the middle ground, but maybe I am, and I kind of split the difference. I call these the red pill to orange pill investor, and I would say my Bitcoin and Bitcoin derivative portfolio is about 75% Bitcoin. So either actual cold storage Bitcoin or MicroStrategy and mining stocks. And then I've got like this little side of Tesla. And for me, the red pill part of the video series is I'll do anything that makes sense. And technically Bitcoin's existential risk isn't zero. So, black swans are black swans because you don't know what you don't know, and there could be something that nobody sees. But Tesla just seems like they've won the decade compared to other stocks. So, I kind of agree with Saylor when he says there's no second best. But at the same time, no one, people always say the competition is coming for Tesla, but no one's coming for Tesla. Like, Tesla's competition they're basically just competing with each other for second place. No one else has the amount of driver data to get full self-driving going. They have way more driver miles than anyone, and they're just racking up more, day after day. So no one is going to beat them at full self-driving. Companies are lining up to use their chargers, and really the car company probably, if you look at Optimus Robot, I follow Stephen Mark Ryan's channel, and he's a total Elon fanboy or whatever, but you kind of can't watch his channel for very long and not become a fanboy. And hell, this guy here that I kind of beefed with a little bit, he didn't even have Tesla in his portfolio, and I thought, I think he had like Coca-Cola or something in there, and I'm just like, Okay, Warren Buffett would be proud, but like, what is Coca-Cola's upside? I mean, I know we're all addicted to it, even though I quit soda a couple of years ago, humble brag. But like, who's going to be convinced to drink Coke that isn't already drinking Coke? And how much more of it can you convince them to drink? So, uh, I don't know. These people that just are like, put it all in SPY and VU and collect some dividends and uh, and then I guess working slave to keep putting money in. Uh, I used to kind of do that, but even if I was, I mean, hell, even if I was gonna be invest in a SPY, I mean, for God's sake, I would still sell covered calls in it, and not financial advice or whatever. The last time I tried to cover calls in a SPY, you could only do it 3 days a week. But I swear to God, the other day I was in here, and you can, yeah, this is ridiculous. You can sell a covered call 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can, you could sell a covered call every single day. Now you're only going to get, like when I sell weekly covered calls, I try to get a 1% minimum. And the volatility on Bitcoin stocks is so high that the implied volatility yields way more than 1%. I try to get some call away value in there as well, but like right here. So this is like 0.1%. Is that right? Yeah, so 0.1%, but that's for 1 day. So let me just think about this in real time. Did I lose it again already? Where was the point? Yeah, so 0.1%, and that's $2 call away value. So that's, oh God. So 0.1% is 50. That's 0.4%. So 0.4, half a percent of call away value and 0.1% premium. Let's get the old calculator out because this is going to be, I haven't figured this out. So if you get 1.001, yeah, that's 0.1%, right? And if there's 5 trading days a week, 52, but then there's a couple of holidays. So what is it like? Let's just say 250 trading days. Yeah, 5 times 50. It's not going to be that many. Actually, it doesn't. Yeah, whatever. It's going to be close enough. So raise to the 250th power because you're going to get 0.1% every single day. It's not bad, 28%. But that's assuming you have a big enough account that you could buy an extra 100 shares of something. So actually, let me just do it. Let me just not do it with the exponential growth. So 0.1% times 250. Okay, so that's 25% for the year. That's still a shitload better than the what? The 10 or 15% that the stock market goes up every year. So yeah, I mean, and if the stock market does go up a couple of bucks every other day, you would be benefiting from that as well. So even if I was going to put all my money in the SPY, I would still probably end up, I'd sell this covered call, get 0.1% or 0.05%, and for another point something call away value, just whatever. Anything in here, 75% profit, 80% chance of profit. These are all probably 0.3 delta, 0.4 delta, or 0.2 delta. Yeah, those are all fine. I mean, but that's what I do. That's, that's not for everybody. But, you sacrifice some of upside, but there's no way I can be hands off enough to sit back and just own SPY or VU. Those days are long gone. And but most people probably should do that, because most people, I think there's a study that said most people, when they join Robinhood or one of these other exchanges and start trading platforms, they blow up their accounts within like 60 days or something, and they just lose it all. So if you don't have the slightest idea what you're doing, then by all means follow the finance pros to the promised land. But I probably learned almost everything I know from Tasty Trade videos on YouTube. They got tons of research. They got tons of how-tos. The best stock market options tutorials that I've ever seen are Adam in the Money, and he's actually got, I saw him posting on X recently, which I was psyched about that, because he had some health problems. Him and his twin brother had I don't know, some kind of encephalitis or some shit, and they were pretty fucked up for a while, and had a GoFundMe and everything. And the most recent update, I know they were doing some treatments they finally got some doctors that would fucking pay attention, and they were getting some advanced treatments, and I'm hoping that he's back and he's going to start posting videos again. Yeah, if you want to learn options, from scratch, in the money, young blonde kid named Adam and his twin brother run that channel, and those videos were critical for me. And yeah, I guess this account, I had to I had to get some buying power back, because MicroStrategy went so far over my call away strike, and I didn't want to lose the shares. I ended up having to roll that to next week, and it was kind of brutal. So I ended up selling off all of my assets. MicroStrategy is the only thing I actually own on this account anymore. So, good times. All right, I think that's it for now. And no hard feelings, finance bros. We'll be here. We'll be here for the next cycle once you get it figured out. All right, be good, Joel.